Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of the Business Gems podcast. Today we're joined by Matt and Jennie Holyoke, and we're going to be talking about all things numbers and finance, not just in the business but in your personal lives as well. Hi Jennie, hi Matt.
Hello everybody, welcome to Business Gems, and we've got Matt and Jen today, and I'm really excited because I know you're financial gurus extraordinaires by day but rock stars by night, so I've been really excited about this podcast. So what would be great is over to you now to tell the audience what both your businesses are.
Go on then, Matt, you go first.
Okay, yeah, so I'm Director of Lions Financial Planning, and as the really imaginative business name would suggest, I do financial planning, which is a mixture of personal and corporate planning. In a nutshell, I try and take people from where they are now financially to where they want to be in the future through various means. But yeah, that's effectively my 10-second elevator pitch. I help busy people make better financial decisions.
Great.
Okay, it's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm Jen. I run Well Balanced. We started off as a bookkeeping practice, and we've recently made the move into offering more management accounting, which probably going to need a little bit of explanation. So management accounting involves, it leaves the tax behind, it leaves all the bookkeeping behind, and it takes the numbers to actually try and get some useful information out of it. And what we can do is we can forecast scenarios, we can look at planning ahead for your business, but we can also look at trends and start to get some useful information out of what is usually just a compliance exercise and support better decisions going forward, because you've got information, which obviously information is power.
Wow, definitely. Knowledge is power. So How did you both go into this? How did you start?
You want me to go first?
Go on then.
All right. So I've been in financial services pretty much all my working life. I did about 20 years in insurance, working for a high street insurance company, quite a corporate kind of gig. And I'd been thinking about doing something different for quite some time, and circumstances in my life dictated that it was kind of now or never. I say now or never, it's like 3.5 years ago now, but at that point I decided to pack in my relatively cushy regular income employed role and just throw the dice and go into what I'm doing now. I wanted to be my own boss, but more important than that, I wanted to make sure that I had more time with my kids. I'm not going to say work-life balance because I still haven't quite cracked that yet. I'm still working.
I reckon it's a myth.
It is. It's like the mythical land of there. There is no such place. You never get there. You've got to be able to enjoy the journey that you're on. Been a little bit sick in my mouth, being cliche. You know what I mean? So made the decision, never looked back. I wanted to make sure that I kept the client face inside of my work because I enjoy talking to people and enjoy finding out what makes them tick. And my corporate life gave me a good set of principles that I live by to this day. There's a massive advice gap in the UK between what financial advice people need and what financial advice is actually available to them. A little bit of background about my industry. In the sort of early to mid 90s, there was something like 200,000 financial advisors in the UK, and I think there's less than 10% of that now, for reasons which I won't go into now, but can do if you like. But I'm taking up too much of the time. Over to you.
That's fine. So I was completely accidental. My entire career was just all right then, because I don't know. You don't hear of children that are growing up wanting to be an accountant. I don't think anybody dreams of it. Nobody sits Barbie down in front of a laptop and gets her to balance some spreadsheets. But I dropped out of uni and I needed a job, and the agencies went, "Oh, you've got a maths A level. You should go into accounts." And I was like, "Right." So I did some temping, then I got a job, and they were like, "Do you want to study for some exams? With AAT is quite good." I was like, "Yeah, okay." So work paid me to do AAT, and then I changed jobs and I did CIMA, which is it's still an accountancy qualification, but it's got a management accounts focus. So I had a really good boss. I had really good bosses, in fact, that sort of made sure I got the promotions and the advances that I needed, but I never chased them. I never went looking for it. And then one of my favourite bosses left, and I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna go find something else. And I moved, and I could never settle. And when I had my baby, I couldn't face the thought of putting him into childcare. So I was like, right, I'll just do a bit of bookkeeping. I was not going to be a business owner. I was not going to run a business. I was just going to do a bit of bookkeeping. So nearly 9 years on, somehow this whole business thing took me away. So yeah, it was never a conscious decision to do any of it, but it suits me. It suits my personality, and I found the thing that I was missing from all my jobs was the variety. I loved the first few months where you're going into a new industry, you're learning about how the business fits together and how it all works. And then it's the same over and over again. And I just couldn't hack it. And now, because I especially work with like unicorns, disruptors, busy brain business owners who are just full of energy and ideas, that every time I have a conversation with a client or every time I'm working on it, there's something different coming out of it. So I'm getting that variety every day now.
And what's great is because you both run your own businesses, you're also helping those clients that are just starting out or in their business currently as well to generate ideas and everything. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's funny how, the conversations go from, have you got a copy of this bill, please, to, well, maybe we could do this, or maybe we could do that, or maybe we could do this. It's just, there's that kind of ideas thing. Once you've got that trusted relationship, the conversations go all over the place.
Yeah. And one of the number one things that everyone says, and I know, Jem, we've talked about this, that when you start a business, there is things you need further down the road. But number one, when you start, absolutely get a brilliant accountant.
Especially if you look at numbers just as much as I do.
So this is one of the things that I get all the time, and you get it as well, don't you? People apologize when they first engage you. They apologize. I get people apologizing for, it's probably a mess. I'm really bad at numbers. I hate numbers. I'm really sorry. And they'll ask me questions, and they'll be like, "I'm really sorry." I'm like, everybody asks these questions unless you've done my job for as long as I have. You probably won't know the answer, and you get the same, don't you?
Yeah. People. If they haven't engaged a financial advisor or financial planner before, they're almost apologetic. But it's more around the level of embarrassment about what they're worth. And I've always sort of set myself apart a little bit differently. It doesn't matter to me what you're worth. What matters is, am I going to be able to help you? Am I going to be able to make a difference in your life? 99 times out of 100, the answer is yes. And it surprised me how often I was getting that with new clients. But yeah, it's just a case of like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about what you're worth now. Let's have a plan for how what your future is going to look like. And then when you get sort of people understanding that I'm not there to just take all their money away and squirrel it away in some investment, you start building up that trust and credibility.
The planning side of it a lot with your business, isn't it?
Yeah. I use some pretty nifty software. My entire industry is moving towards something called goals-based planning, but I've since that's how I've set myself up. What goals-based planning is basically having a look at what people's goals are, what they want to get out of life. Everybody knows that they probably should be paying into a pension. Well, yeah, that's great. What do you want to get out the other end? What does retirement look like for you? When do you want to retire? Is it a hard stop? Are you going to still carry on working in some capacity? And everybody's answer is going to be different. So there is no one size fits all. So this really helps me bring somebody's plan to life as well. So I could go
It
on
also
about
helps as well as someone that helps with the finance side. I find actually having that accountability buddy there and someone to actually talk to about my finances makes me more likely to save because someone's going to ask me what I've been doing. I'm really, really crap about, I know what I want to do with the company, but actually thinking about what I want to do as a person, what I want to achieve when I want to retire isn't something that's ever really crossed my mind until I started working with Matt. And then every year, every 6 months to every year, we are actually speaking about what do you want to do? Is this still the plan? Are you still wanting to retire at this age? And the great thing about Matt is because you get to know him, he'll actually talk to you about it honestly. So like with me, I was like, well, I want to retire. And he was like, you sure? Are you really good at actually retire, Jem? And I'm like, yeah, probably not.
You don't strike me as the hard stop type of person, Jem. Got to be honest.
But Matt, isn't Jem asked you to make sure she gets a yacht though? Isn't that?
Yeah. Well, I'm working on it. So one thing, it's in it. I mean, sort of, I say joking aside, I'm pretty sure you actually do want a yacht, don't you? But it's the one thing that I can't guarantee is investment performance, and I never do. Because when we look at goals-based financial planning rather than can I make a quick buck on the markets, you actually, the length of time that you sort of go in a lot, you know, for you, Jem, we're looking at quite a long time potentially before you actually draw your pension funds down. And the actual market performance makes less of a difference if you can demonstrate that you're actually still on track to hit your goal. It's just noise. Short-term volatility like that is just noise. You're planning in decades, not days.
And it's true because like I was panicking and I was like, I'm not putting enough money away. And Matt's like, well, did you know by this point you'll actually have this? And I was like, oh, I'm not actually doing as bad as I thought I was.
Yeah.
But I think I'm like, I always go to the worst case scenario, catastrophize everything. So actually having someone to just talk to me about things and talk through it logically helps because I am a flapper by nature.
And that's similar to what I do with my clients with the management accounts. So I've had a couple of clients recently who've had big decisions to make in their businesses, and they've had like two paths. Do I do this or do I do that? So we can run scenarios and we can go, all right, if you do this, this is what it's going to look like. If you do that, this is what it's going to look like. And then they'll go, but what if we don't grow as much as we think we're going to? What if this happens? What if that happens? And we can just feed the numbers in, just have a look at how it's going to all plan out. And for those people who've got the ideas and they're properly sitting, I want to do this because this, and then you go, oh no, but what about that? And then you're back on idea B, and then something puts you off idea B, and then you go, oh, maybe I could go back to idea A. Oh, I'd forgotten about that. And it kind of knocks you backwards and forwards. And having that clarity to be able to look at it and go, all right, yeah, I think we've covered everything, and now I can see which path makes more sense.
There's no such thing as a crystal ball in anything that we do, but what we do is basically empower people to make good decisions based on the data and the facts that we've got available.
And I have to say, I have loads of conversations with people about, I'm really worried, where's my next 5 years looking? I want to get growth. How do I get that? And actually, having amazing accountants behind you and people like yourself is so vital, isn't it? To help understand where the paths are and bounce those ideas and give scenarios. So within your jobs, I know you want to answer this first. So within your roles in your business, what would you say the top things that clients are coming to you for at the moment?
Do you want to go? Or do you want me to?
Oh, go on, you go first. I need time to think.
I totally knew that would go in.
Generally, the way I'm introduced to new clients would be, say, retirement planning is normally the big one.
Yeah.
And I say retirement planning, I don't say pensions because, it's not necessarily all around pensions, but retirement planning is like, what do things look like when I get older? Have I got enough money to live the rest of my life and some degree of comfort? And if not, what can I do about it? That's kind of my bread and butter. But I've also been doing a lot in the small business space as well. There's just so much as a small business owner, either as a sole trader or as limited company director, that you can do that, in my experience, the people I'm introduced to don't know about, or got some sort of vague concept of, but don't really understand it. And they're too busy running a business. They're too being awesome at what they do. They need a me. That's one of the sort of growth areas of my business.
So, sorry, Matt, give us some examples of those things that people don't know that come to you for them, especially small business owners.
Yeah, sure. So a few examples would be, let's say for a limited company director, a sole director or a joint director, they can affect, can't call it life insurance, it's an employee benefit, but it's kind of like life insurance, something called a relevant life plan, which basically means that they can use company profits to pay for an employee benefit, which in the event of their death would pay a multiple of their income from the business into a trust. So the benefits for that is very, very tax efficient, because you're saving on corporation tax because it's an allowable expense to HMRC, and you're saving on income tax and national insurance because the contributions aren't coming from your back pocket, they're coming from the business. The other obvious one would be pensions and the tax relief that you get from pensions. So as a sole trader, anything that you put into a pension within certain limits, which I haven't got time to go into, but let's just put an asterisk next to it. Anything you put into a pension will be grossed up by HMRC straight away at the basic rate level of tax. So you put £100 in a pension, you actually get 125 quid in there. I don't know any other investment that's going to give you an immediate 25% uplift straight away for every contribution that you make. If you're a higher rate taxpayer, you can claim additional tax relief via your self-assessment tax return. If you're a limited company director, the contributions to your pension from your business come from top line profits. So it's a great way of saving corporation tax and extracting profit from your business. It's taking it from the boardroom table to your kitchen table, but with the proviso that you can't actually access it until you're 55, and that's going to be 57 from 2028 apparently. But they're two really, really simple, workable examples of maximising your tax efficiency with your business, but also extracting profit as well.
Wow.
What about the kid one? What about the kids' pensions? Because I found that the most interesting thing ever.
Pensions for kids, yeah. So if you've got a kid, you can pay up to £3,600 a year gross into a pension on their behalf, which would cost you 2,880 quid. If you were to do that, so let's say you were to save for when the child was born until they're 18, and you maximise those contributions every year. So you put in, it's costing you £2,880, and you stop contributions entirely when they're 18. Well, if you let that run, and you had like 4%, 5% return year on year, up until their state pension age, it could be worth over £1 million.
Wow. I'm writing these numbers down, Matt. Writing these numbers down.
Don't write the numbers down.
Wow.
It's just an example. I do not guarantee investment performance. Shut yourself in. But no, the principle is compounded, and over a 40, 50 year period, it's that whole 8th or 9th wonder of the world, isn't it? Compound growth. You're getting returns on your returns, and the longer that you've got in the investment, the greater the power of compounding returns over time. It's all about the time in an investment, not the timing, because nobody can consistently time the markets apart from maybe Warren Buffett.
Yeah, but putting that little bit away and starting now is why, people need to come and talk to you, because actually I've already wrote three points down there myself, and I've got to say that it is a minefield, but that's what you both do, is help businesses and individuals through it.
I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit here. The one consistent piece of feedback that I get from clients is to make it easy to understand, and that is so important. It would be very easy for me to sit in front of a client and bamboozle them with all the technical knowledge that I've gained. What's the point? I need to make it simple to understand and easy to grasp, because it is a minefield, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
I also get excited when I get to tell Matt that I've actually been saving and I've been a good girl, and it's quite nice for him to go, Jem, well
gold
done.
star at your last meeting, Jem.
I was going to say, I bet Josh has already taken sailing lessons, and Jem, ready for that yacht.
My yacht.
Oh, you need someone to sail it.
Captain, we don't need Josh. We can stay at home with dogs.
Oh, sorry, Josh. Apologies. Right. So it'd be really great then, Jen, is to hear from you then.
I can't remember what the question was, though. He talked for so long.
Sorry.
Nodded off.
Yeah, no worries. So what is it your clients, are coming to you for advice for and everything? What kind of things?
Historically, I've had a lot of people come in when they've usually got an accountant. People go straight to the accountant. They know they need to get the tax covered off. And then year after year, their accountant's going, I need this, I need that, I need this, I need that. And they're having to pull together loads of stuff at the last minute. So historically, I've had people come to me when they're like, my accountant keeps asking for stuff. I need this pulled together more often to bring the bookkeeping up to in line. More recently, it's been people who've just got a bit of a dilemma in their business, and they're just going, I don't know where to go next. I've got all these ideas and I don't know which one's going to go, which one's got legs and which one's just going to fall down. So a lot of it is talking about complete ideas in the future. The other thing is sort of why is my business like that? You get a lot of questions sometimes, people who are, they get a big tax bill. They're like, there's no money left in my business. How do I owe that money to HMRC when there's nothing left in my business? And that's where we have to start looking at the difference between your accounts and your cash. And that's where it starts to get a little bit more complicated and a little bit more technical. When you're running a business in the early days, it doesn't matter. Generally, you're paying for things as soon as they come in because no one's giving you credit. You're making sure your clients pay you straight away because you wouldn't be able to survive without it. Whereas as things drag on, you get more and more clients. Some of those bills don't come in on time. You start getting credit with people, so you pay them at the end of 30 days because you need to manage your cash. But there's about 80% of businesses that fail because of cash flow, just literally because of cash flow. And it's a really difficult thing to manage. So where it starts to show up in your accounts is, for example, if anybody deals with the big supermarkets, they'll have experienced this. But if you raise a big invoice today, that shows in your accounts for today. If your customer doesn't pay it for 60 days, it doesn't show up. The money doesn't show up in your bank for another 60 days. So if you're looking at your profit and loss and your accountant's running your tax, they're going to be using the month that's got that invoice in it. So you're going to be paying tax on that massive invoice you've raised that you haven't had the money for yet. Mm. And another thing we see quite often is people putting stuff through against profit that shouldn't be there. So loan repayments is a major one that you see quite often. If you take out a bank loan, say the bank gives you 20 grand, you are not going to expect to pay 20 grand on that cash. You've got 20 grand come into your bank, but that's a loan. You've got to pay it back. And you're not going to tell HMRC that's sales. So we stick that to the balance sheet, which is kind of the opposite of the profit and loss. Profit and loss for stuff that just moves through your business, and the balance sheets for the things that stay a bit longer. So the loan goes to the balance sheet. Then every time you repay the loan, what you find is people put that repayment through as a loan repayment. It's an expense. It goes against your profit and reduces your profit, and it shouldn't, because it should be matched to that loan. Right. The only thing that can go through on your profit is the interest part of that repayment. And you see, there's a lot of payments that will go out of your bank that don't actually hit your profit and loss. For example, the loans, or then there's the timing of things, or you've got things like where you're paying staff, PAYE payments and things like that. You can't put that through as an expense. That's not actually your money. That's HMRC's money that comes out separately. And money that directors take out of the business is usually not going to hit the profit and loss. and you see there's various payments that start sneaking through, and it's like, that shouldn't be there. So probably the first thing that we have to do before we start working on any numbers is to go and sense check it, to audit it and make sure that what we're working from is the right numbers. And that's why it ties in well with the bookkeeping service that we do, because we've already done that bit.
So basically, doing the first point of call with yourself would be doing a full audit on that business then.
Yeah, I mean, not a full audit. That sounds quite scary. But what I would be doing is sense checking it. So the first thing I do, and this is something every business owner can do, just to sense check their own accounts. Because the biggest thing I would ever say is within bookkeeping is no matter what you do the same thing consistently. So you sound staff, doesn't it?
I know exactly where you're going with this.
If you pay for a train, always put it to the same place. If you're buying a coffee, always put it to the same place, because what you see is people will put something to one place one week and then they'll think about it differently the next week and put it somewhere else. And so the first thing I would say to do is, if you're using software, which you should be, is run a profit and loss account month by month and just look across each line and watch it go like that. And where there's big ups or there's empty spaces or there's big downs, that's when you need to go, all right, something's missing or something's in the wrong place. And that's a really simple check that anyone can do just to start getting an eye on what's there and tidy up. And that'd be a really good place to start if you've got like random direct debits that you've forgotten about. Everybody has them. Everybody has them. So that'd be a good place to start as well, just to look at that and go, hang on, why am I still paying that direct debit that, I haven't listened to Audible for donkey's years. Why am I still paying for it?
Yeah.
And while you're at it, guys, do it on your personal accounts as well. Let's get rid of all the direct debits that we don't need. Because we have all got loads. Like I found loads in Jan.
Yeah. And subscriptions.
Yeah,
and all the subscriptions that we just let keep going, but none of us check, do we? It's like, that's
what we did. We ended up with 2 Amazon Prime subscriptions. We were like, why are we both paying for Amazon Prime?
And 2 Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Got 3 at one stage, wasn't
it? It was. That was fun.
Yeah. Disney is life, so.
Oh yeah.
Is it?
Oh. Are we going there?
Don't you do it.
Well, I used to be quite a big Star Wars fan. So Disney have got a lot to answer for, as far as I'm concerned.
I've got no idea what this one is about.
The Star Wars fans will know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'll have to go to Google afterwards.
Oh, well, hey, do you know, it just shows you it's a minefield. And what I've loved listening to both of you is you're making it sound simple, but there's certain things that like we can all take ownership for in our own businesses and personal life with what we've just said, looking at our finances. But absolutely, you two are key with having that, knowledge and skill to help guide down the right path, isn't it? That's kind of what I'm taking from this conversation, which is so important.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we've had entire careers doing this. So we are like number geeks. We like a good spreadsheet and things like that. So that kind of it's true.
I was just about to say, a client I saw this morning broke out a spreadsheet and I was so excited.
Hey, but
did they get a gold star too?
Sorry?
Did they get a gold star too? Or is it just me?
Well,
it's just Jem, isn't it? Because she's special.
Yeah, they got silver star.
You missed it then, didn't you? Completely missed it. It could have made me feel like amazing, but no. You're just average, Jem. It's fine.
You're always a gold star, Jem. You're awesome. But I suppose that if I'm intrigued to see, to go back to something that you said earlier, Matt, is about, I was quite shocked what you said, where there used to be 200,000 financial advisors, and now there's only 10% of that. What's happened?
Well, a few things. Regulation being the main one. There's a lot more regulation in the industry than there was, which is always a good thing. Yeah, it means that I have to keep my finger on the pulse and do lots of continuing professional development. But you know, the industry is a lot cleaner than it used to be, and that meant that a lot of people who were practicing previously just basically sacked it off. There's a lot more requirements on them in order to practice. But not only that, the biggest reduction is banks and building societies that just, generally speaking, just don't provide it anymore. If you go into a high street bank or building society and say, should I do X or should I do Y? Can't tell you. It's very litigious potentially. So you have to have certain protections in place. And the professional indemnity insurance for a financial advisor is particularly expensive. But yeah, a lot of the banks and building societies decided to pull basically any kind of advice function that they had. Difficult to manage, I guess, from their perspective. If they've got advisors in every branch, you've got to have some really, really slick processes and really good compliance functions in place to manage it. But we are slowly getting back to more people coming into the industry. But yeah, it's why I see like other financial advisors, I don't ever see them as my competition, because there's just so many people that don't have financial advisors and need them. We're never going to bump into each other and cross paths, I don't think.
But I think a lot of people don't realise they need them, do they? That a financial advisor. I think that's why this podcast is important.
Most of my new clients come from people that haven't had structured financial advice in the past, other than maybe watching Martin Lewis or listening to him on the radio, or maybe they take mortgage advice. No comment. So yeah, most of them either have very limited or no experience with financial advice, financial advisors, and there's normally preconceived ideas about what they're going to expect, which is again the aforementioned swoop in, selling something that they think they might need but don't really understand, and swan off with all their money. And nothing could be further from the truth, at least not how I practice anyway.
It's true. To be fair, I always go, "Am I rich yet?" And he goes, "No." And I'm like, wait to bust my bubble, Matt. Thanks.
Yeah, but you need that transparency and honesty, don't you? That's like really important.
Slow and steady wins the
race. Yeah, and I live in Cloud Cuckoo Land, so the reason I like Disney.
Do you know what I really want to know now? This is for our audience. Anyone listening now to this that wants to go down both your paths to set up a business, what would your top 3 or 4 things be for them to set that business up? What do you advise?
For me, I'd say start with the end in mind. So while you're new and all your efforts are on marketing and you've not got that many clients, get some systems set up so that when you're busy, things don't fall behind. So I offer thank you. I offer a training and setup package where I will set up the software, get the subscription sorted, brand all your stuff, make sure your chart of accounts is where it needs to be, show you how to use the software. We'll link the bank, we'll sort out any integrations you want to do, and then you go and do it. So it doesn't always have to be an ongoing relationship, because I realized there are a lot of people coming to me, they needed help, but they didn't need ongoing advice or bookkeeping or anything. So I started to look at ways that we could work as one-offs as well. So if anybody's looking at it going, I'm just not tech savvy, we can help with that sort of thing. But definitely start looking at the apps you can use to help you. I mean, banks, a lot of the online banks, Starling, Metal, those sorts of things, you can attach receipts to each transaction. You've got somewhere an app on your phone that you're already using where you can keep the documentation that HMRC or your accountant are going to ask for. So just find some system that fits around what you already do that allows you to start tracking where you're at now. So you're not doing it over your Christmas holiday or on the 31st of January when the deadline's there and you're up till midnight waiting to file it. Because it might sound daft, but there are thousands and thousands and thousands of tax returns submitted on Christmas Day because it's the only downtime a small business owner gets. It's the only day your customers aren't phoning you and no one's expecting an answer. So, you know, that would always be my first thing is just start as you mean to go on, get everything set up while you're quiet, and then be strict about keeping it up to date.
Yes, my one would be don't be an island. You know, there are so many people, good people, that you can connect with and have gone through the whole experience, and everyone's going to give you a slightly different take on it. But broadly speaking, if you ask people for help, they'll give it you.
Yeah.
And you can't do everything yourself. You just can't. In terms of, you know, you wear a lot of hats as a business owner. And sometimes it can get quite overwhelming and you don't know if you're spinning the right plate at the right time. Well, speak to the people, see what they did.
I found peer networking so valuable. And like still now, not even just when I was first setting up, I met some amazing people who've been doing what I do for longer than me. And they really put me on the right path and helped me out with things like pricing. It's a bloody minefield. All those sorts of things that you don't really think about when you're first going, oh, I'm just going to do this. But, you know, nobody knows everything.
No.
There are loads of qualified professionals and all of us have passed exams, but I promise you, nobody remembers everything they answered on those exams. Some people remember some bits, some people remember other bits. So when you're stuck or you've come across something you've never come across before, having a group of people to go, guys, have you ever seen this before? And then to go, oh yeah, this is where you need to look, or this is what you need to do, or give me a call, we'll talk about it. It's so valuable. So don't just network with other businesses, network with people who do what you do and learn from them.
Brilliant
Totally
advice.
Sorry.
Yeah, agree.
To be fair as well, it also helps with there's going to be peaks and troughs in the market depending on what time of year you're actually in. And sometimes you can, especially when you're on your own, you can sit there and think, oh my God, it's me. No one wants to work with me. And that's it. My reputation's damaged. When in reality, if you actually just pick up the phone and go, are you seeing this too? And hearing someone else is going through it, it helps massively. I know it's like misery loves company, but that's not exactly what I'm trying to say. But it's just nice where everybody else is going through the exact same struggles as you at the same time. Because you're right, like even with what I do, like I used to write content on LinkedIn for about 8-9 years before actually setting up Social Gems. But even in those first couple of months of actually being on my own, I were asking people that worked in similar fields to me to actually go, is this all right? Should I be saying this? Because even though I'd done it for years beforehand, because when you're on your own, it's completely different. It feels different because there's no one to bounce an idea off. There's no one to ask. There's no one to actually be there to actually say, actually, I agree with that. I don't agree with that. Every decision starts and ends with you. So you kind of need to find a little group of people that you trust that can just help every now and again when you're having a bit of a wobble.
Yeah. And sometimes it is just to go, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Just that one decision that you're doubting and you're like, this doesn't seem right. Oh, no, it's right. Yeah. Okay, great. Just sometimes it's that reassurance.
I can guess ourselves. Some days we can be really, really confident. We're like, we've got this. We can deal with everything. And then some mornings we wake up and we're like, what do
I'm not sure what to do.
You're all gonna know.
Yeah. Oh, do you know, absolutely brilliant advice. And do you know, I've wrote every podcast I write loads of notes. I learn lots, and I hope the audiences as well. I've made loads and loads of notes today. And you know, before you go, there's one thing I need to know about. So I know you're both rock stars. So, and I've seen the performance, and you know, this is exciting. I know you've described yourselves as, you know, number crunchers, you know, you love a spreadsheet, but I know you absolutely love singing and you can absolutely rock a guitar. So tell us about that.
Yeah, the ones at wall aren't just for show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Couple.
That's a false background.
Yeah. No, I'm very much a reluctant rock star. I've always loved to sing, but never like in front of people. And there was a competition, and Matt was like, "We should go into this competition." I was like, "All right, whatever." And it kind of escalated.
Yeah, a little bit. We actually found out we were all right at this. First year it was just me, Jen, and our drummer Luke. We came second in the Battle of the Bands competition that we did then. So we did it. I thought it would be a good idea to do it again this year. And we had a bassist, so we had actually a full band, and again did really, really well. So I'm in the process of gradually trying to twist Jen's arm. It's actually a good idea to do more gigs. We've been offered support gigs from the band that actually won the Battle of the Bands this year. Oh, look at that! That was really well timed. I don't know if that was on purpose. But yeah, I find it great stress relief to play my guitar, and I know Jen loves to sing as well. So we thought, well, why not be aging rock stars?
But what's your band name? Have we got the band name yet?
We ain't got there yet. We ain't got there to touch the subject.
Jennie and the Jelly Beans. I will keep saying this until I'm blue in the face. It should be Jennie and the Jelly Bean.
Do you know? I'm loving that idea.
It's whether I can persuade the lads to be the Jelly Beans.
I'd rather be the Jelly Beans.
Well, what you do is you go.
So the audience needs to watch this space to see what happens. But if you've got any
throw some suggestions, please.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Matt. Yeah. So please, audience, give us some band names for Matt and Jen's really, really cool band. So we've already got Jen's idea.
Jem's idea is the best idea, to be fair. And if they want Jennie to, because Jen's a reluctant singer, then the way they get her on board is clearly calling it Jennie and the Jelly Beans.
Yeah. You need to get Jem in your band, by the way. She's an amazing singer.
I've got the same problem as Jennie. Like, I just like singing in the house as a de-stress. Like, there's nothing better than screaming My Chemical Romance, I'm not okay, when you're really hacked off at life.
Alanis Morissette's quite good for that as well.
There's a few. Like, if Josh is really winding me up, my all-time go-to is Beyonce, Listen.
So as you can tell, this podcast is now helping us all with our well-being and how to release stress through singing.
Highway to hell if you're stuck on motorway, guys. Always makes it easier. I've got loads.
I'm loving it. Well, do you know, we've nearly run out of time, but I've got something that I've got a question, a really special question. So what happens is our guests from previous podcasts leave a question, and your question today, because I'm going to need a question for the next podcast from yourselves, but your question today from a previous guest is, when you were a kid, what was your dream job? Yeah, what did you want to be?
I want to be an astronaut. I still do. When I grow up.
Oh.
I wanted to do all sorts. I wanted to be a surgeon, but then I kind of got a bit squeamish. And I wanted to be a marine biologist, but I'm terrified of the sea.
It's going well so far.
So this is why I ended up as an accountant, because it was all that was left.
It's only 3 jobs.
Well, hey, I'm loving the ambition. Loving it. Well, it's not too late.
No blood, no open water. I'm fine.
Oh, bless, that's brilliant. So what question would you like to leave for our next guest then, Matt and Jen?
It's got to be a would you rather question, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was going to go with what should that band name be, but it's a bit of a cop out, isn't it? So I thought of I didn't think of this. I heard a good would you rather question a while back, which was, would you rather click your fingers and solve world hunger, or bring world peace, one of the two, or have a fully functioning lightsaber? And I don't think that's an easy question.
Oh, that's the
Does it
for
come with the robe?
Star Wars fans. That's going to be a really hard question, isn't it?
I was going to say, let's hope your next guest is a Star Wars fan.
Yeah. Or isn't, because there's definitely a right answer. I don't think it's necessarily an easy answer.
Well, it's whether you could use the lightsaber
To enforce world
actually
peace.
solve world peace or world hunger. So
Give it a good go.
Do you know, it's getting deep, really deep. But unfortunately, we've now run out of time. And honestly, I could have listened to you for weeks. But I think that, for the audience, the massive takeaways is everybody needs someone like Matt and Jen in their businesses and roles that they do. Really, really important. I've had loads of key takeaways. And, Jem, anything to add?
I kind of want to reiterate what you've just said, but add in not just in your business, in your personal lives as well. So look at every single bit of your numbers, whether it's you personally, what you're doing, because if you're anything like me, I've got a little touch of ADHD and I've got a bit of a spending problem because it gives me a dopamine hit. But actually looking at everything that you're spending and everything that you're doing personally and in business is never a bad thing.
Oh, brilliant. Well,
Thank
hey,
you very much
audience.
for having us on.
Yeah, well, no, absolute pleasure. And audience, I hope you've enjoyed it. And it's a goodbye from all of us. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
See you later.